The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's helpline session with your host, James McDonald.
Hey everybody, sorry about that. I had technical problems getting on here. I've been trying to get on since five minutes to the hour, and it just hasn't allowed me to get on, so we had to do it manually. I really do apologize. Let's get immediately to our questions, Andrea, and instruct everybody as to what they can do to get their questions answered.
Okay, if you haven't done so already, go ahead and type your question or comment in the chat box at the bottom of your webinar control panel. You can also click the hand icon if you have a working mic or you're on the telephone. Our first chat question is, I was wondering if you get leads with bad phone numbers for a home eval, but their name matches the home address. How do I handle these? She says, do I mail postcards, do letter emails, and if so, so what?
No, you look up their address and get a phone number. So go online, enter their address, look for a phone number. I mean, you know, it is reasonable that somebody could think, I don't really need to give an accurate phone number if I want to get a home evaluation. What you need is accurate information about the home. You don't need accurate information about the phone number. So it would be reasonable that somebody, although they may be motivated, they may give you that false information in terms of their phone number for, you know, whatever reason, and that would be completely reasonable. But they cannot give incorrect information about their property if they're serious about determining value. So here's what we do. You're going to go and you're going to use any number of different websites, whitepages.com, for example. And if you have name, if you have address, you have any of that pertinent information, you can get a phone number, and then you're going to call the prospect on that phone number. And if they say, "Oh, how'd you get my phone number?" Say, "Oh, well, you gave me your address. Right? You gave me your name and address." So anyway, that, you know, that is definitely going to happen. No question about it, it's not going to happen most of the time, but it is going to happen more than some of the time, and it's not a big deal. You'll probably find you'll get a phone number 80% of the time in circumstances like that. Okay, good question.
Our next question. Adelaide would like confirmation or clarification. What if you cannot get them? I have a lot of them.
What if you can't get them? Okay, so you mean you've attempted to reach them and you can't? Well, first of all, you should send them the initial information that you suggested you would, okay? In other words, sending them the initial information was not contingent on you speaking to them. You didn't say, I will only send you this information if I speak to you. So we really are obligated to send them the information that they requested. However, after that, we are not obligated to send anything to anyone that isn't a prospect. And the truth is, you don't know if they're a prospect until you speak with them. And you haven't spoken with them because they didn't answer the telephone or you didn't get a phone number. So if you're going to send them an email, the only email to send is an email that suggests that only accurate information will be processed. Please include all required fields accurately to receive your online home evaluation or your area home sales report, with a link going directly back to the landing page. And that's why I recommend that if this is happening to you frequently, that what you want to do is make the fields required fields and have it say at the very top, only accurate information will be processed. And if you have a Success website, they'll do that for you. If you let them know what you want to do, they'll do that. There'll be a little red star, and beside each of the required fields, there'll be a little red star. And at the top, there'll be a red star that says, please complete all fields, only accurate information will be processed. Right, so it's telling people up front, if your information isn't accurate, don't expect to get the information, and it will make it more likely. But again, don't do that if it's not a problem. Do it if this is happening frequently. It's something to test. Good question.
Adele would actually like to speak with you. She wants me to open her mic, so I'm going to go ahead and do so. You're muted on your end, Mrs. Langdon. Go ahead and unmute, and then we can talk to you. Just for pre-reference, while she's doing that, she says this is regarding bold leads, and she's confirming that it
doesn't matter the leads. Oh, I see. Well, with the landing page. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Hello. Hi, Adele.
Hi, James. How are you today?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing great. No, what I was confused about is I just recently got bold leads, and I have, several, almost 90% of bad phone numbers, and I've tried to find I match them up to the addresses, the ones that match up, which are a lot of them, and I can't find phone numbers. I just wondered, do I put them in a database and keep those homes and send out a postcard, or what do I do?
No, absolutely not. No, don't do that. What you want to do is you really want to focus all your energies on the ones that you can get a phone number. All right, so think of it as a filter. The ones that you absolutely cannot get a phone number for, you're not going to. And if you never speak to them, then you cannot convert them into an appointment or into a contract. Not going to happen. So you want to focus 100% of your efforts on the ones who do give you a phone number or enough information that you can get a phone number. Pour your energy into the ones that you can speak to as opposed to the ones that you can't.
Well, you were referring to, sending an email saying I only accurate information, but I can't do that. You can't.
This is bold leads. It's not your landing page. So this is
not. About
what I said was if you're using Success Website, they will put information that says we'll only process accurate information. But this is not Success Website. This is bold leads. So with bold leads, it's a little bit different. The process of a prospect asking for the information is a little bit different. What you want to do for the bold leads is you want to focus 100% of your efforts on the ones that you can get phone numbers for. And don't worry about the ones you can't.
So I don't have to, send them anything.
But it's already been sent. It's automated, right? That's the benefit.
No, I turned off the funnels. It's a home evaluation.
Oh, so they didn't receive anything.
Right. Should I turn back on the funnels? I mean, I've been told to turn them off.
Yeah, well, I mean, see, here's the way that we've always felt about this is that if you say you're going to send information and then we don't send information, who's in the wrong here? Well, I say it's us. I say we're in the wrong if we tell someone we're going to send information and we don't. Now, here's where it's different. If the way we say we're going to send information is if you include all of the pertinent information that we need from you, then we'll send the information. And then the prospect voluntarily does not include their information, well, then we're under no obligation to send them the information they asked for. But in the circumstance where they did include their information, we should fulfill our obligation and send them what they requested, even if we just cannot get a hold of them, even if we can't reach them, even if the phone number is bad. We should probably still send the information.
Right, and I agree, and I've heard you say that, a lot of times. So then I would have a second question. In bold leads, if they get the the little quick evaluation automatically, which it does, then why do they need you, and what do you say when you call? Because that's another issue.
So, Adele, am I to understand that if I wanted an evaluation of my home and I received the information from bold leads, that what you could offer me would be absolutely no better in any way than what I received from bold leads?
No, it would be better, but I kind of
really?
didn't.
Like what? Explain why. Why would it be better?
Because, well, one, I'd want to come out and see the house, and I could give them a more
accurate. So we're on to something. So number one, what you're suggesting is if you see the house, you can be more accurate. Would that be true?
Exactly.
What else would you be able to do that bold leads wouldn't be able to do?
I could
once you see the house, what are you going to be able to point out?
What to do and what not to do in order to make them get the most amount of money, go over a net sheet.
Sounds to me like you know exactly what the benefit would be.
But when I call them, they say, "Oh, we already got the evaluation, and it doesn't." So just go with that. Maybe
but listen, hey, this is a good thing. I love a prospect that says, "I got the information and it wasn't very helpful." Want to know why? Because I have a solution for that. Yeah, you know what? Without seeing your home, it's hard to be really accurate. But if I can take a look at your property, it can be much, much more accurate in determining the likely sales price of your property. But more importantly, by seeing it, I'm going to be able to point out some inexpensive tips, some things to do and not do to further increase the value of your property while you're preparing it for sale. We can also go over a net sheet so you'll know exactly what you'll have left in your pocket once all the closing costs are incurred. It's 100% free. There's no obligation whatsoever, and certainly I'm flexible. When would be a good time for you? Days, evenings? What would be best?
Well, then my last question to that is when I call up, how do I introduce it? Because the whole thing about I'm about to send it out to you or I'm about to put something together for you.
Just take out the word about.
So why am I'm calling to just see if they got it? That's the thing.
You're calling as a courtesy to let them know that you sent it. Hi Adele, it's James calling. Hi Adele, it's James calling with Craig Proctor's office at RE/MAX. And the reason I'm calling, Adele, is I did receive your request for the area home sales report from my Facebook ad. And I just wanted to call as a courtesy to let you know that I did send that information. I hope that's okay, Adele.
Okay, so maybe I should turn that back on and I'll have less work to do as far as that goes.
I would have to look at your individual circumstance, but to me, it doesn't scare me that they're receiving information automatically. Even if the information they're getting isn't particularly good, to me, that's a good thing. That means that my offer is going to be that much better, right?
Okay. I got you. All right.
So
yeah.
I'm not afraid of that. The fact that they get the information is fine. Now, here's the truth, though. If it was turned off and you did send them the information yourself manually, it would be better. In other words, the information itself would be better. But here's the truth. If they're not planning on moving, it doesn't matter that the information's better because it's irrelevant. The value of their home is 100% irrelevant if they're not moving.
See, I did do that with one, and I actually got an appointment, but my coach was telling me that what I did was they got the evaluation automatically. This is before I turned it off. Then I called, and they kind of weren't happy with that, and I said I'm putting together, a more accurate, I sent them the evaluation anyway. Now I do have an appointment with them, but my coach was telling me do not send them out evaluations before you go out to go on an appointment.
Well, the whole point is this: the only way that you can determine the value of somebody's home is you have to see it. You know that, I know that. They just don't know that. But when you explain it to them, look, here's the truth: you want to know the value of your property. The way to accurately determine that is for me to see it. But there are other benefits as well, because when I see it, I'm going to be able to tell you some things that you ought to do or not do, and that will make your home worth even more money. And you'll know accurately what you're going to have left in your pocket when all the various closing costs are incurred. So if I can come and take a look at your home, we'll be able to determine all of this, and you'll be very happy with the accurate evaluation that you're given. And it's free, and there's no obligation for you to do anything. I understand you're in the beginning process here. What would be a good time for you? Something during the day or in the evenings? What would be best? You'll book an appointment every time.
Okay, all right. Well, that clarifies it. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Adele.
Our next participant would also like to speak with you, John Brackett. Let me pull up your line. John, your line is open.
Hello.
Hi, John.
Hey, James. How are you? Hey, Bud, this is my question. It's regarding the guaranteed sales program. I actually tried it out this week and last week with some meetings that I had. And a couple of questions that I have is the first, in paragraph 1, I just wanted to make sure that I'm clear on this, but the way that the last sentence reads, it states here that the present home for the guaranteed sales price is based on market value minus whatever percentage we assign, right?
Correct.
So say, for example, that market value that we agreed to is $200,000 as an example, and the 10% guaranteed sale minus commissions is 5%, and say the commission is 5%, so that would mean that the guaranteed sales price would be $200,000 minus 10%. Is that correct?
That's correct. So it'd be so the number in there would be $180,000. That's the total amount of the offer to purchase. There's no commission paid on that whatsoever. That is the final amount, $180,000 based on $200,000. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, good. So just wanted to make sure I was presenting that properly. And then lastly here is in paragraph 3, where you talk about the listing price discounts, which I really like that. You know, where you automatically you're building in automatic discounts for the list price.
Yes, automatic price reductions. Yes.
Automatic price reductions, correct. So it says from 1 to I think that means days, from 1 to 30 days. What is there a rule of thumb that you normally incorporate? Is it 3% bumps for each?
No, it has to depend on your marketplace.
Sure.
Right?
No,
So
I understand that, but is there
look at your own marketplace to make that determination? But because of course, the more the higher the average price range of the property, the smaller the percentage is going to be. The lower the price of the property, the higher the percentage is going to be of the price reduction.
Got it. Okay. But there's no general rule that Craig has used over the years, and I understand that.
If there was, it wouldn't be blank. Do you understand?
Understood.
Right? There's a reason why there's a line, a space there, and it's because it's arbitrary, 100% arbitrary. And it's going to be arbitrary based on a couple things. Like, for example, what price did you list it at? What's the price of the property? Like, all of these things, what's the guaranteed amount? All of these things are going to play a role in that individual property. When you give the guaranteed sale program, you're going to do it so rarely that each time it's going to be treated on an individual basis. Right? Like, you're not going to be doing this every month. It's not going to happen. You might go a year without ever giving a guarantee.
Sure. Okay. That makes sense.
Right. So you want to treat it on a very careful individual basis. Here's what I think is the most critical of all of the conditions. After 60 days, okay, and this has to be in your guarantee. If you're going to do a guarantee to purchase, then this has to be in there. If an offer is received after 60 days and the offer is less than the guaranteed amount, you reserve the right to make up the difference and accept that offer.
Oh man, that's genius. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Because here's the deal: $180,000, an offer comes in for $179,900. Guess what the seller says? I've already got an offer for $180,000 in my pocket. Why would I take an offer for one that will net me $179,900 when I already have an offer for $180,000? That's true, right? You would do the same thing. You would decline that offer, even though 2 months has elapsed and you haven't gotten any offers on the property, and you're thinking, oh boy, I've got a guarantee on this property and we have no bites. This is not happening. So, and I'm on the hook. I've guaranteed this $200,000 property, $180,000. Okay, now an offer comes in after 60 days, and the offer is for $179,900. And the seller, of course, says, well, I've already got an offer for $180,000, so no, I'm not going to take that. Let's keep trying and see if we can get something higher. You reserve the right to say, you know what? I'll kick in $100 to bring it up to $180,000, right? I'll bring that offer up to $180,000 so that you get your guaranteed amount. Now, the seller can decline that offer if they wish. But in declining that offer, they're also declining the guarantee, which is now null and void.
Sure, okay.
Listen, Craig sold thousands and thousands of properties and can count on one hand the number he bought. And it's because the guaranteed sales program is designed to be used for properties that you're going to sell, not for properties that you aren't. If there's even a shadow of a doubt that the property wasn't going to sell, you would never offer them the guarantee. If you pulled up to somebody's home and it was like one of those, like it was built in the 70s and a couple of hippies built it out of cubes, no guarantee. No guarantee. Right? If you pull up to the property and it's in a subdivision where you know within $100 what the property's going to sell for, that's the property that you put the guarantee on.
Right.
Like, it's like with any guarantee. The guarantee is just there as a safety net, but you're making the guarantee because you can sell the property, not because you're wanting to buy the property.
Now, James, just really quickly though, okay? So one property I actually am going to buy because I wanted to purchase it.
Okay, well,
So,
that's a different story. And I'll tell you what, if you want to purchase that property, this is really good because you're going to make sure that you make a dozen different testimonials out of this.
right.
Okay, you
right.
need that seller to give you a testimonial that says that John bought our property, so that we can make a firm offer on our dream home. John swooped in and bought our property from us or for us. You need all the different testimonials you can, and here's the great benefit: you only need to do it once. One time. That's all you need, one time. And that's going to go in your listing presentation. Any time that you advertise the Guaranteed Sale Program, you're going to include that testimonial. But third-party testimonial of John actually bought our property is invaluable.
You know, man, I'm so glad you said that. I really didn't even, I mean, I thought testimonial, but not to the extent that you described. Okay, great.
It's critical, and the great thing is you only need to do that once. You need that once, and you will use it for the rest of your life, that testimonial. Because whoever sees it is seeing it for the very first time, right? Like if you have a listing presentation, and in it you've got a very short 10-second video, right? Okay. And now, of course, you're going to use this. See, one of the things with the Guaranteed Sale Program, and I know we're going off on a tangent here, but this is really vital. When you arrive at every seller's home for your listing presentation, you can always bring up the Guaranteed Sale Program, but you need to explain how it's going to benefit them, because it's highly unlikely that they're going to be moving up and purchasing one of your properties, but another buyer is going to be moving and buying their property. So you need to be able to explain that. So I could sit down and say, hey, John, listen, one of the things that we're going to do to market your property differently than what all the other realtors are doing is we're going to put a sign rider on your property and in all the advertising that says, move up to this property and I'll buy yours for cash. It's called my Guaranteed Move Up Program. And the way it works is if a buyer makes an offer on your property that is contingent on the sale of their home, I will guarantee the sale of their home to remove that contingency. That's what I'm willing to do to make sure you get a firm offer. And I'm going to advertise that. And it really does bring the buyers out of the woodwork. And better for you, it gives you a better offer to work with, to negotiate with, one that's firm versus one that's conditional on the sale of someone's property. Now, you'll notice that the other realtors in the area aren't advertising any such guarantee. Let me share with you a very brief testimonial from somebody that I've done this with. Boom. Hi, I'm Mary and John, and John guaranteed the sale of our home, and he actually bought it to make sure that we could buy the home of our dreams. Thanks so much, John. I couldn't believe it was true, but you did it.
Got it. That's good. I really like that.
Yeah,
okay.
That's called a mic drop.
A mic drop.
That's right. You drop the mic and walk off the stage because it's over. Good job. All right. Thanks, John. Let's move on.
Okay.
Our next question comes in the form of chat from Azira. She says, expired mailer a call came in. If he says, since you have all these buyers, you can bring them, I will give you your portion of the commission, what would you say to that?
Say that one more time.
Okay. She says, an expired mailer call came in. Say he says, since you have all of these buyers, you can bring them. I will give you your portion of commission. She says 2.5. What would you say to that?
Well, what I would say is that you're in the business of representing clients. And so remember, the purpose of a phone call is to get a face-to-face appointment. So right now, that's what the seller thinks. Okay, the seller who responded to your direct mail piece thinks what they think. Obviously, the reason that was it expired or for sale by owner? Andrea?
Expired.
Expired. Okay, it was expired. Okay. They think what they think. But the problem with an expired is that in most marketplaces, the reason they're expired is because they're not motivated. So all you're doing is taking on somebody's problem child. So you got to be very careful of that. But this is what you want to determine. If the prospect is motivated and needs to sell, All right, they need to sell. You need to get face-to-face with them before you can explain to them what you do and what you do differently to net them more money in their pocket. And the time to have that conversation is never over the telephone. It's always face-to-face. What you do want to determine over the telephone is this somebody that needs to sell? Where are you going? When are you going there? How long were they on the market before they expired? That's all information that you should know beforehand. If you found out, well, their home's been on the market for 9 months, is there motivation there? Remember, the purpose of the phone call is to determine timing and motivation. What was their property listed at? You can find that information. And when you do and you find out, oh, holy cow, they were listed $150,000 over market value, and it sat on the market for 8 months, be prepared for someone who is very, very unmotivated. So, yes, the purpose of the phone call is to determine timing and motivation. Now, let's say you determine there's motivation, right? They need to sell. It's a divorce, whatever. All right. You are not going to have an argument over the phone about commission. You're not, because the prospect thinks what they think. They don't know any better because you haven't had a chance to explain what you do to net them more money in their pocket, which is all any seller cares. They don't care what they pay. They care what they get. What they get is more important than what they pay. As long as they get more, then what they pay isn't as relevant. So the only way you can explain that is face-to-face. So you want to set up an appointment. When you set up the appointment, then you have a chance to display all of the benefits first before you have the discussion of commission. You go through all the benefits in your presentation, all of the various services you offer, statistical USPs, performance guarantees, everything you offer, and the question is very simple. Provided we can come to an agreement on pricing your property and on my fee, would you like me to handle this for you? Would you like me to be the one that handles this, provided we can come to an agreement on pricing your property effectively and my fee? If they say yes, what they're saying is this: you are the person that they want. They could choose anyone, but they want you. They want it to be you. And if they want it to be you, then they're willing to pay more to get more. They obviously see a benefit in it being you. Because if they think, well, no, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's you. It could be anyone. You're all the same. If they still think that, well, then no, it doesn't. They don't necessarily want you. That changes everything. But your presentation is good. Therefore, they want to do business with you. Now we can have that conversation. But you just compartmentalize these things. What is the purpose of the phone call? It ain't to argue about commission. The purpose of the phone call is to establish timing and motivation. As long as there's motivation there, we book an appointment. That's it. We're just trying to book an appointment. When you book the appointment, the way this works is you don't have a discussion about commission and pricing until they want to work with you. The only way they're going to determine that they want to work with you is based on your presentation. So benefit first, then you can talk about the commitment, which is pricing their property and your fee. But by then, they want you as much as you want them. And that's key, because right now it's a one-way street. You want them, but they don't want you. Well, that's a very difficult place to negotiate from. Okay, next question, please.
Our next question comes in the form of audio from Ronald Pitzel. Your phone line is open.
Hello, James.
Hello, Ronald. How are you today?
I am doing well. My call is concerning IFA.
All right, inside sales agent, yes.
Correct. I guess a couple of points I need to find out is, one, how do you watch them, I guess? If they're not physically in your office, and I have an ISA agent that is working my commissions Inc., but no matter whether I have 250 new customers in a month or 150, I'm still getting, basically she's saying that she's working the 20 hours that I allow per week. And my question on that is probably, how do you guys, is there a numeric number per customer that should be?
Well, there are a couple answers to this question. Okay, first of all, you'd agree that this is a performance-based position. In other words, if they could accomplish what somebody else accomplishes in 40 hours, but they could do it in 5 hours, you wouldn't penalize them for that. You'd be pretty damn happy about it. So overall, what we got to remember is this. The inside sales position is one that really requires talent. like skill. If you are really good at it and you can book appointments, you are invaluable to that position. It's not a ditch digging position whereby what matters is the number of hours and the number of dials someone's willing to make. Because this is a position that all that matters is outcome. That's it. All that matters. How many appointments did you book today? That's all that matters at the end of the day. If somebody says, I work 12 hours a day and I booked nothing, you wouldn't say, wow, you're really good. And the other person that says, well, you know what, I only worked 5 hours, but I booked 8 appointments. Who's better? Well, it's clear. So just let's first get that straight. The second thing we got to determine is this, okay? What Craig always suggests is before you can expect somebody else to perform at a certain level of expectation, you should do it first, right? The only way to effectively train somebody to do something is for you to be able to do it. So this becomes really challenging if you have never done it and therefore you don't have any expectations, you don't really know, then it really does become challenging to get a good idea of, well, how many calls should they make? How many appointments are reasonable? All of these things are much more difficult to determine.
Well, and that's where I'm going with it is, should I be the ISA? In other words, I'm an agent, just like Craig was. I'm not a broker. I'm an agent trying to build a team. In the past 6 years, I'm in Southwest Florida here in Punta Gorda, dealing with buyers from around the country and Canada, okay? And so it's unique in that no one is here. 90% of the people are not. So it's developing a relationship and calling. What's happening in the last 3 months since I brought this girl on is they're developing a relationship with her. They're sending emails to her. I don't get any more phone calls. I mean, I'm actually, you know, I told my wife, I said, this retirement thing is good because, you know, with the team concept, I have Tammy taking care of Commissions Inc. I have Mary taking care of my bold leads, and my phone doesn't ring and I don't do anything other than when a customer comes to the surface.
Sounds like a pretty good setup to me.
Well, but the money isn't coming in. So it's the time of year, and where I'm going with is Joey Trombley, who, you know, is my coach in upstate New York, and I believe in a smaller community, not that we're big. But I'm going to ask him on my next appointment next week that I thought he told me that he calls all the people. And then gives them to James and gives them to Annette and gives them to whoever to split on a 50-50 basis. My problem I'm running into here is I'm losing control of the customers in that I don't talk to them.
Well, they're not customers, though. They're not customers. They're not customers. They're prospects. A customer is somebody who has hired you by signing a contract. None of these people, until they come to Florida, none of them have signed a contract with you. At the moment they sign a contract, then they're your client. All that these inside salespeople are doing is they're working with prospects. Here's my recommendation. Okay, this is what I suggest. You should at very least for a time be calling back all of these prospects. So at least you have expectations as
I did it for 3 years.
All right.
When I first started 7 years ago, I mean, I was working the streets. I was working the market leader. I was inside, outside, the whole ball of wax, and doing about $8 million a year. Well, now with the team concept and the Craig Proctor coaching, I'm trying to deviate. I did have 2 different people working for me as ISAs, but one was located in Michigan, calling customers. The other one was not a licensed realtor in Florida, who did a great job, the best year I ever had, and he was kind of semi-retired. He'd be talking to people, walking around the pool. It didn't matter, but the bottom line is bringing them to the surface, developing a relationship, and so on. Well, now, you know, again, I've done it. Should I go back and do it? Should I be the one calling the people and trying to bring them to the surface? I'm the rainmaker.
Well, I'll tell you, there is nothing more dollar productive, and you just need to look at what Craig did. I mean, that is what Craig did. Craig would rather delegate the appointments than delegate the phone calls.
Ah, okay.
In other words, In other words, in 3 or 4 hours, Craig can book so many appointments. Now, here's the difference, though, that you have. By your admission, 90% of your prospects are out of state. They're out of the area. So this is a different animal. And you know, I think maybe the idea is it's a combination of a bit of both. But I'll tell you what, somebody that's doing this over the phone, they shouldn't really be on a 50-50 split. If when that person comes to Southwest Florida, they're meeting with you, and you are the agent when they're there, then I don't know, maybe that's something that you and Joey could talk about. But the inside sales split is not 50-50. You won't be profitable doing that.
Meaning, as of right now, in other words, if I'm making the phone calls, then I would bring you in along with me when the customer comes to Florida for our meet and greet, and that's when we do our.
Well, if you're going to delegate, yeah, I mean, if you're going to delegate that client to an outside agent, well, then the splits for an outside agent are a little different. But the setup that you have right now, it doesn't sound like that's happening. It sounds like you are the agent. When they come to Florida, who are they meeting with?
Well, that used to be. I walked away from that when I signed up, well, probably 30 days into the program. And like I say, my phone doesn't ring. Tammy, who's my inside sales agent, has her phone number listed on My Commissions Inc. under my name. So when they call, doing a fine job, it's just I've lost control of knowing who's a buyer, who's a liar, who's coming to Florida, who's they have a relationship now with her. They email, "Hi Tammy, it's Cindy from Wisconsin, blah 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 blah." I see the emails, but they're no longer asking for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what? As the volume increases, that's probably a good thing. You know, as long as everything that she does on behalf of you and the team. You know, that's very important. It has to be, it can't be Tammy that is their realtor. It has to be the team that is providing this information. And everything has to be under the umbrella of the team concept. And it's a benefit to the prospect as well. They feel like they're not hiring a realtor, they're hiring a team that's working on their behalf to find them the perfect property in Southwest Florida.
Okay.
So I mean, I just think you can gain control of that pretty easily. You know, by putting in some checks whereby it is the team. But you know, here's when they're prospects. As long as what is happening is prospects are booking appointments and appointments are resulting in clients, then it's only up to that point that really you need to be aware or really involved. You know, when they're prospects, they're not really clients. They're just prospects. So if you've got other people that are keeping them warm, then that's great. It means that you don't have to spend your time with somebody that isn't a client. You can spend your time with clients who have hired you that are going to result in a commission check. That's who you should be spending your time with, not with prospects who are in Michigan and aren't going to be coming to Florida for 8 months. That's really time consuming for you to do that. And you ain't going to make any money in 8 months doing that. Somebody else can do that just as effectively as you can.
But the ISA position is a very valuable position.
Extremely valuable.
Yeah, I'm finding that out more and more.
Well, especially in the position, especially in the unusual position that you're in.
Well, and that's where I'm trying to work it out. In that I'm enjoying the I want to call it downtime, but on the other hand, it's not that I have to control everybody, but my other issue that I have is that I kind of have the fox in the hen house in the respect that my ISA is a licensed Florida agent and is also part of the team. And I don't think that can continue. Meaning that she'll develop a rate where the customer wants to see her. She'll say, "Ron, can I take this one?" And so meaning that we split on a 50-50 basis. Again, I never see the people, I never touch them, and I get half the commission, plus 10% because I'm with Exit. So it's not such a bad thing.
Right.
But in long term,
well, if there was enough of it, honestly, you do that all day long, right? If there was enough of that, then you got to say that would be a really good setup. You know.
Mm-hmm.
That's
okay. Let me work with it. I'm
yeah.
on my way to the airport to pick up a customer, so I thank you for the conversation.
Excellent. Well, good luck. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Our next guest, actually, James, emailed us a piece of her marketing that they'd like us to look at. Are you ready to do that now?
Sure.
Okay. This is from Ellen Levy. I'm going to unpause my screen. Give it 1 second to pop up. I'll pull up the email she sent me so I can read it. She says, my plan is to start farming this neighborhood of 215 homes by introducing myself via personal promotion postcard, then follow up periodically with postcards featuring my USP listing and sales. What are your thoughts? There's also another side when you're ready.
Yeah, my thoughts are that you're just promoting a salesperson here, and honestly, you know, people don't read. They're not going to read it. It's just another salesperson that they're looking at. And I know it means a lot to us, but it doesn't mean a lot to them. Like if a new car dealer introduced themselves in the neighborhood and said, I'm a new car salesperson, you know, we just got to be reasonable about this. People care about WYFM. So the best way to promote yourself is by attaching yourself to a benefit to them. So what your idea was is, I'm going to introduce myself, then we're going to promote USP. No, don't do it that way. Introduce yourself by establishing your unique selling proposition. So I'm not saying that you can't promote the Levy team, but you need to associate the Levy team with some sort of benefit, some reason why I would want to do business with you over all of the seemingly identical realtors that promote their face, right? There's got to be a benefit. So you have USPs in mind. You have guarantees, you have performance guarantees, you have various services, etc. Whatever those are, you need to include those immediately so that if you're going to introduce yourself, don't introduce yourself by saying, hey, here's another salesperson to throw in the mix. You need to introduce yourself by saying, I'm not another salesperson in the mix. Here's the reason why you want to do business with us. It's because of this very valuable reason. And that's where your USP comes in. Let's check out the other side.
Hold on just 1 second. You should see it any minute now.
All right, so this side says when it's time to buy, sell, or if you just need friendly advice, give us a call. Yeah, honestly, all of this, what you need to do is you need to establish your USP here. Benefit. There is no benefit. This is a benefit to you, not to them, right? You know, when you want to buy or sell, when you have a commission, give us a call. It's not a benefit to the prospect. We can be very, very specific. We can say, you know, I'll sell your home for 100% of asking price, or I'll pay you the difference. You know, that's a reason to call, for example. But this is really critical. See, the way that we want everyone to know Ellen and Barry isn't, oh, I recognize their face, because everybody has a face. So that's not going to cause anyone to pick up the phone to say, oh, look, they have a face. Most of the realtors around here don't have faces. They all do. We want them to say, Barry and Ellen have a home sale guarantee. They get homes sold fast, or they guarantee, you know, that you'll get what your home is worth. They have a guarantee, you know, some benefit to me, the consumer, the prospective seller in the neighborhood. And it's absolutely critical that you include that in anything that promotes a salesperson, because we got to be reasonable about this. We as consumers don't like salespeople. We avoid them like the plague. When a salesperson confronts us, we lie to get away from them. So running an ad that just says, we're salespeople, call us, it's naive. No one's calling salespeople. They may want information that a salesperson has, but as a general practice, we avoid salespeople 1,000 to 1 more than we gravitate to salespeople. So we need them to want the information or want what we have, a benefit. And fortunately, we have a complete arsenal of benefits that in this case a seller in the neighborhood would really want if they were considering selling. What we need to do a good job of is promoting that benefit and attaching it to us, so that when people see Barry and Ellen, what they associate that with is this very valuable guarantee, and it is the game changer that'll change everything. So that's my suggestion. And by the way, on the members only website, you'll find plenty of examples of USP direct mail postcards as well that you can use as templates to just sort of massage your example here that you've sent. All right.
Okay.
Here we go. For example, Andrea is showing you some examples right here. Your home sold in 100 days, guaranteed all by it myself. All right. You may not use the guaranteed sale program, but this would be an example. Right. There are others, right? 100% of market value, we pay the difference. Right. So, and of course, with each one of those, you can sort of adjust accordingly. Okay, very good. Thank you, Andrea, for that. Okay, let's. Do we have any other questions in the chat? Let's take a few more chat questions before we run out of time here.
Okay, we do. We have several questions. We may not get to all of them today. We have one from John Brackett. I'm working on the following USPs this week: business cards, guaranteed sale program, also statistical guarantees. Do we have any examples that you can recommend?
Of guarantees?
Yes.
Okay, well, we just looked at a whole bunch in the on the performance, the certificate generator there on the website. So yeah, I mean, boy, there is certainly no shortage of guarantees. So here are a whole bunch for sellers. Your home sold in X number of days, or I'll pay you X. These are all performance guarantees. All right, 100% of asking price, we pay the difference. Guaranteed cash offer. Home sold in X number of days, or I'll buy it, or I'll pay you the difference, or I'll save you X number of dollars. Those are all kinds of different seller guarantees. Now that's in the ad generator. There's also a certificate generator, and you'll see that you can offer different performance guarantees for buyers as well. Now, what you can also include are statistics, but they would probably be better served in your listing presentation. For example, list to sales price ratio as a statistical USP. You know, showing the average list to sales price ratio in the marketplace versus yours or your company's. That's very powerful as well. So in tandem with your guarantee, you're showing them your statistics as well. It makes for a very powerful presentation. But in terms of your advertising, a performance guarantee is very, very powerful.
Okay, our next question from Jeff. With bold leads, if the name of the lead is not the same name of the owner and the tax records, what is the approach?
Well, if you don't have a phone number for that person, it becomes pretty difficult. See, because what can often happen, or what can happen, not often, but what can happen is that the prospect, so I live across the street and the model across the street is the same as mine. So I just give that information. You know what? Here's how you got to think of it, okay? The website is a filter. And the way this works is that the more serious the prospect is, the more likely it is they are to give accurate information. The less motivated the prospect is, the less likely they are to give accurate or any information at all, for that matter. Which is why we can try to get a phone number, but just understand that the very best prospects will, of course, be the ones that give the most accurate information. Reason? The more motivated you are, the more likely you are to give accurate information. The less motivated you are, the less likely you are to give accurate information. So bear that in mind. When you are sorting your leads, The ones that give you the most information and the most accurate information will always be the best ones. And the ones that give you Mickey Mouse and an incorrect address or name or phone number, they're less motivated. And the ones that leave nothing at all and leave are even less motivated than that. So everything is designed as a filter. We're going to make an offer that's very compelling, but we understand that all the prospects aren't created equally. If we can get a phone number, we're going to call. And the worst case scenario is I call. Yeah, hi, may I speak with John, please? There's no John here. Oh, I got a request for a home evaluation on my website, and it said the name was John. Was that wasn't you? No. Thanks. Have a great day. Like that. If that's the worst case scenario, I'll live. Okay. But what if they say, oh yeah, that was my son. Whatever. I don't know. Who knows what the scenario could be. So I mean, the downside isn't so bad. If you can get a phone number, call it. You know, that's the bottom line. If you can get a phone number, call it. And worst case scenario is it's not them. They're not motivated. It's a no. That's the worst case scenario. There's no other worst scenario than that. So that doesn't seem so bad. All right, good question.
Okay, Carol types in, she'd like to know about choosing a farm area. What's the best way to determine what area to choose? What is the best marketing piece to start with?
Okay, so first of all, my suggestion here is this. Because we're going to use direct mail and we're not going to knock on doors, you don't need to choose a farm area. You can choose several. In other words, if we look in the MLS and we determine that there are several neighborhoods that are in reasonable geographical proximity to us, that are all high performing geographical areas where there are more homes selling and there's more turnover in those geographical neighborhoods than other neighborhoods, we can target more than one. Why? Because we're never going to cold call them and we're never ever going to knock on doors in them. So it doesn't require us choosing a farm area because we're going door to door. That was the old school way. That's how they did it, traditionally you choose a farm area that's reasonable because you're the one who's pounding the pavement, knocking on the doors in the farm area. But now we're going to do it very differently. We're going to use every door direct. For 17 cents, we can direct mail every single person we want to in any number of different high demand, high turnover neighborhoods that we would like to target in our marketplace. We do not have to limit ourselves. So the answer to your question is twofold. Number one, you don't choose a farm area, you choose several, because you don't need to limit yourself to one. And the way you're going to choose those areas is by looking at statistics on the MLS that tell you the areas of high turnover, of high activity. And when you determine the areas of high turnover, high activity, those are the areas that you're going to target using a direct mail approach, all right, as well as running ads that offer properties in those high demand areas. Right? Remember, if you have no listings in those areas, you can still run an ad that offers a free list of homes in those high demand areas. You don't need to have any listings to do that. And if they truly are high demand areas, then when you run an ad that says, here's a free list of homes in Glenway Estates, it doesn't matter that you have no listings there, that is in demand, that will get the phone to ring. All right, so great question. All right, so let's take one more question for this morning, Andrea. And I got a couple of little things I want to point out.
Okay, Victor would like you to elaborate on liquidation of damages, $5,000 per lead for team members contract if they leave your team within a year.
Okay, well, this is getting into the weeds a little bit here. So you have a realtor that's joined your team, and what you've put in place is basically an exit clause that ensures that when they leave, they don't leave with your customers. And I just have to tell you, this is why you really want to be slow to hire and quick to fire. You know, it's hard to get good people in the beginning, but once you have a good person, it's easy to get more because you have that person as proof that this can work, if that makes sense. But going back to your question, what you have to establish is that every single prospect and every single customer is yours and yours only. They're not property of the team. They're not property of them, of theirs, as well as yours. They are yours. And that needs to be established in writing at the very onset of the relationship. Virtually every prospect and every client is yours, your name. They're your client. They are not theirs. And provided that's established and they agree to that, then if and or when they voluntarily or involuntarily leave your team, it makes everything much easier, much more cut and dry. Having said that, though, if your clause is too penalizing, it's very difficult to enforce. So you have thousands of dollars. I mean, you could probably count on one hand the number of instances where anything like that has been enforced. This is what is more important, is that the clients are yours. They are your clients. When they sign a buyer contract, it's with you. It doesn't matter that they're the ones working with them. It is with you. Your name is on that contract. They've hired you. Same is true with the listing contracts. It doesn't matter that another realtor may have gone out and taken the listing. Your name is on the listing contract. They must be your clients. And if they're your clients, it makes this all so much easier when and if it ends with that particular inside or outside sales agent. So, just some food for thought in what you can do. In other words, your protection is not at the end, it's in the beginning. Be slow to hire so that you get good people. Do a really good job training and make sure that you establish all of these ground rules at the very, very beginning. The prospects are your prospects, yours individually, your prospects. They're your clients, and they hire you. Regardless of if they're working with a team member, they're hiring you. And that way, if and when somebody leaves, they don't take your clients. They're your clients. And any commissions pending are your commissions. They hired you. Your name is on the contract, not theirs. It makes all of this much easier, So anyway, bear that in mind, and that's something that we can definitely more fully elaborate on with more time, and perhaps with your coach individually as well. Okay, now a couple things before we sign off here this morning. First of all, if you missed Friday's webinar, Craig did a marketing webinar with our Platinum Coach Todd Walters, and I really highly recommend that you watch that webinar if you missed it on Friday. You can find it on the coaching website pretty easily. So go back and watch that. I think that for a lot of you, it would be really, really beneficial, particularly if you're looking to establish USPs in your marketing. That was discussed at length. So you'd find that really helpful. And don't forget, this Thursday, as always, is our role play session. So make sure that you make plans to participate on Thursday so that we can do some role playing together as well. Andrea, thanks so much for your help this morning. Sorry about the late start, everybody. But hopefully we get those technical bugs worked out. It denied me access. I wasn't important enough, and so when I tried to log on, it just said, "You're denied." Nice try, James McDonald, but you're denied access to the helpline. No chance for you. So that took me aback a little bit, but we did figure it out eventually. So anyway, thanks so much, everyone. And Andrea, as always, thank you for your help as well.
Thank you, James. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful week ahead. Talk to you all soon.